Hi everyone, welcome back. Today we are going to talk about DOM manipulation. So DOM in full is document object mode. DOM manipulation refers to the process of dynamically accessing, modifying or manipulating the DOM using JavaScript. So the document object represents your web page. Okay, let us start with selecting elements by their unique ID. Let us first create our HTML file. Call it index.html. So inside our HTML file, let us start by adding the basic structure of an HTML document. Then inside our body, we will add a div. We'll add a div element with an ID attribute. Div. So let us call our ID my element. And let us write some text here. This is my So we are going to create a JavaScript. We are going to create a JavaScript file, and in our JavaScript file, we try to access this and try to manipulate it from there. We are going to try to access this div with an ID of my element, and we try to access this text inside. This is my element. So we try to manipulate it from there, from our JavaScript file. So let us create our JavaScript file and we name it index.js. And then after we link the two. Then after we link the two, index.js, we control save. So in our JavaScript file, we start by declaring our variable. Let us call it element equal to document dot get element by ID, and we pass in our ID. So we gave it a name called my element. So that's what we So that's what we write here. We enclose it in quotes. My element. So here to access the element. Here to access the element, this element. Here to access the element, we use the get element by ID method provided by the document object. So we call the get element by ID method and we pass in the ID of the element we want to access. As you can all see it, like we passed in our ID, which is called my element. We first declared it. We want to access this element here. this is my element. We want to access it. So we declared our variable, and then we passed in our id using the .get element by id. So after accessing the element, we can perform various operations on it, like modifying its content, attributes, or styles. So let us try to modify its styles. It is very simple. Just write element dot style dot color equals to, you give it any color you want. Let me give it blue. Control save. So here we are changing the color. As you can see that we changed our color. So we changed our color. We can change it to red. You can do anything you want. So now let us select elements by class name. So if you want to select multiple elements with the same class name, you can use the get elements by class name method. So now let me show you how it works. Let me change this to class, and even change this to class, my class. And this is my element 1. Let me copy this and paste it here, and change this to 2. This is my element 1, and this is my element 2. And I'm going to leave this, like the class I'm going to leave them to be the same. So like if you want this to be id, and also this id, and also this to be id, and you want to access both of them, it won't work. So it will just select the first one. For it, when you're using id to access the elements, you can't access both of them. It will only access the first one. So let me change this back to class. So let us go in our JavaScript file and try to manipulate these two. Let us first declare let class equal to document let my class equal to document as we named our class my class, so I have to use a different name when declaring it. What should I use? Let me just call it my element. my element, go to document, get element by class name, and our class name is my class. Control save. So now let us use the inner HTML to modify the content, and we also access each element by its index. So element, so let me first show you. So the first element is index 0, and the second element is index 1. So let us use the inner HTML to modify the content. I want to create my element, dot inner HTML equals to new content, for element 1. Control copy and paste it here and change this to 1:2. So by using the inner HTML property, you can easily change the HTML content of elements. So let me run this and you see. So we are trying to change this statement, like this is my element 1 and this is my element 2. We are trying to change them. As you can see, we have changed them to new content for element 1 and new content for element 2. So let me remove this and use the original content. So this was the original one and we changed it. This was the original one. This is my element 1, this is my element 2. So let me put back this, you see. And then we are trying to change it. And okay, let me now try to use ID and we see if it will change. ID, control save. So change this to ID, ID. ID. I have to change this, get element by ID. Element by ID. You see, it has refused to change because it has refused to change. That's what I was telling you. So if you want to access many elements, you can use you can use like document.get element by class name, but if you want to access one element, you can use id, because for it it is unique. That's why they call it unique id. You can't use it to access many elements. And you can also use get element by tag name. You can also use it to access multiple elements. And for it it is like this: get element by tag name. And you know the different tag names in HTML. We have paragraph, we have headings, we have paragraph. We also have this heading. Those are tag names, and there are very many. You can also select elements with CSS selectors using query selector. Like, you can first declare your variable let element equal to document dot query selector. And for it, when you're accessing it, you begin with its sign. So when you're accessing a div, you begin with hash. And let me say it has a name called what? When it has a name called show. And another query selector class, for it you begin with dot. So that's it. And now let me show you how to add a new paragraph element to an existing element. But first of all, let us first create our paragraph here. Let me put it in a container called div. And I give it an ID called my class. So let me put my paragraph here. And put a text. This is my paragraph. This is my paragraph. Now let us try to create a new paragraph. Here we are not accessing, but we are creating a new paragraph. So we use document.create element element we want to create is paragraph. So next we create the text node that will contain the text for the new element. So we use the create text node method to create the node, and and we pass in our desired text content. So we first declare it. Let node equal to document dot create text node, and we call it this is the new paragraph. This is the new paragraph. So after creating it, we append the text node to the paragraph element using append. So we append the two dot append child. Node. So now by selecting the parent element, let us use the select method. Let us use the let me first see, not the select method. Let us use the query selector method. Let us use that. So let element equal to document dot query selector called it my class. So let us now append the paragraph element to the parent element. Dot append child para. So let me see if we have added there our paragraph. Yeah, as you can see, we added a new paragraph, but in our HTML document you can't see it, but in our web page you can see that we have added a new paragraph.